All right, welcome to another episode of the podcast. We'll start this week out with October events at Progression once again. First one already happened. There was another successful hammer race that happened at Zumbrota Valley Campgrounds again this year. There's another one. What's the next one? The spring race?
April 13th.
April 13th is the spring hammer race. Look forward to that one. Never too soon to start training for that. Minnesota Open Weightlifting Championships again. Reminder, they are here this weekend, October 20th and 21st. It's one of the largest weightlifting meets in the Midwest. Free to come and spectate. Gym is closed all weekend, meaning there's no classes. There is a scheduled Rev workout online that's meant to be done at home. Please ignore the programming that was left up for Saturday. There are no Saturday classes. Again, help us spread the word. Private meal prep session, this happened as well already, but if you're looking for any kind of nutritional guidance, make sure to head to our website, cfpfit.com. Click on sign up for your No Sweat Intro today, and then click a free nutrition consultation session. That should be your first option. Takes about 30 minutes of your time, but what you have to gain is priceless. And then, of course, Halloween party, Saturday, October 27th. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. We have a few questions about that today on the Prog.cast. And with that being said, Hadouken! Boom, boom, boom. Welcome to another edition. Like I said earlier, this is your host, Nick, and Josh today. We got Tony over on the keyboards. He's looking and monitoring your questions for the entire hour. We already have some show notes up today. Please make sure you take a look at those. I'll add more later, but we have our mobility piece of the week. And as recommended, we have a recipe of the week. Thanks to Jen Grinnell, this week's mobility is going to focus on fixing your shoulders. Everything we do essentially involves your shoulders here at CrossFit. And anytime you hold something in your hands that's connected to your shoulder, go ahead, work on it. Again, we talked about this a lot at last episode. Pick an exercise, a stretch, mobility, do it 2 to 5 minutes a day for the next 2 weeks. You will see a difference in your trouble areas. Again, healthy homemade recipe as well. What else were we going to say? Weren't we going to start the show with something?
I can't remember.
No, I can't remember either. Ago. I know, it was like 5 minutes ago. We're just going to go into questions and answers, and if it comes back up, we'll think of it.
Yeah.
God, I thought it was important. Anyways, again, if you're following along today, please comment on any questions you might have, or if you want more clarification on what we're talking about, post it in the discussion panel on the side. Coach Tony is watching over that, so we make sure we get your questions answered. All right, let's start things out. All right, I keep seeing an ad for a 6-week program at Progression. What's up with that? Is it open to gym members? Cost? What's included?
Yeah, so we just started up the 6-week challenge. It's primarily for our new members. The best option for our current members is actually just to talk to a coach. Probably going to involve some nutrition and maybe a little PT. Basically, the 6-week program is some personal training, some nutrition, and some group classes. And there's at least three levels. There's at least 3 options for that. So the best option if you want to see if it's right for you is to talk to a coach.
Yeah, talk to a coach. Sit down. We'll get a meeting. We'll go over it in details, like everything Josh said.
Yeah, we have had at least one member. Two members have done it. Yep.
So we've at least inquired about it.
Yeah. So just check with a coach, see if it is right for you.
Mm-hmm. It might be too. We might just say, hey, you need to do some ongoing nutrition or something instead. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of options now.
Yeah,
the business has grown into several different areas. So
it's a good time to be a member at Progression.
Yeah, you can really kind of like draw your own plan. Sit down with the coaches, draw your own plan.
Yeah, so if you feel like this is a broader thing, I think we answer this every week as well. If you feel like, hey, I'm not getting the results I want, and if you aren't signed up for a nutrition program yet, talk to one of our nutrition coaches today. We talk about it at the beginning of every podcast, how to sign up for a free nutrition information session. That should be your starting point if you're looking to jumpstart your results today. Go get signed up for a nutrition session. Do the power hour. Get in some ongoing nutrition coaching. It will really, really, really feel your results if you're already really consistent in the gym, or if you're just getting started. That's where you should be going. Start with nutrition.
It's the base of the pyramid. So
food pyramid. We posted it last week. I should have left it in here this week.
CrossFit pyramid.
CrossFit pyramid. Yeah. Not food pyramid. That's outdated. Next question. There's been a lot of talk about alcohol on Prog.cast the last 2 weeks. What if you don't drink alcohol? What are good occasional drinks? They're not plain water or sparkling water to indulge. We got one right here. Josh had Caribou Coffee. Bang Energy. I don't know if it's not necessarily maybe 100% healthy, but if you need a caffeine kick, Clairbrun, pick your favorite flavor.
Key lime.
Key lime, that's right.
Key lime is amazing.
Grapefruit I had right there. That's a pretty good one. I'm a classic lemon lime guy usually.
I was too until key lime came along.
Ooh, I'm gonna
Have
check
you tried
that
it?
out. I have not.
Oh.
Let's go. Here's what we got from our nutrition coach this week. Jen Grinnell says non-alcoholic mojitos, great with key lime LaCroix.
Oh.
So I'll post that one in the show notes for sure. This could be a good one if you want to fit in at parties, but you don't want to drink and you're worried about your friends judging you for not drinking, and you're one of those paleo people now, which is ridiculous.
Your friends shouldn't be judging you now.
Yeah, your friends shouldn't be judging you anyway, which is a good point.
Trying to be like you.
That's why I don't hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
That's right. So, that's awkward. Anyways, minty non-alcoholic mojitos. Check it out. Thank you so much, Jen.
That's why the best season of The Office is the first season, because it's so awkward.
Yes, it is the most awkward season by far.
Yeah, I love
You notice how Michael Scott's hair changes from season 1 to 2?
Yeah.
Like it's like he got hair plugs, or he
Less
started taking
awkward.
less awkward hairline, that's for sure. All right. Last week we were talking about testosterone. You said that people with a high VO2 max have high testosterone. What is that? So I guess I didn't go back and listen closely enough.
Mark had a question about the ongoing nutrition counseling. Living in Mankato, he has a friend that is asking if they can continue, even though he lives in Mankato, can he continue the nutrition counseling through progression through Jenner's?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah, fill out the contact form on the website, Mark.
Yeah, so if you're a gym member who's moved away, but you still tune in to a lot of our information that we put out, including this podcast, you still see our newsletters. That service is still open to you. Fill out a consultation form for the question was, can I do ongoing nutrition coaching if I don't live in Rochester anymore? And that's from Mark in the comment section asking for a friend. Yes, you can. Contact us, fill out the consultation form, just like we say at the beginning.
If I live in Mankato, can I still do ongoing nutrition coaching? Asking for a friend.
Classic. Thank you for following the podcast, Mark. So on this current question, last week we'll talk about testosterone. You said that people with a high VO2 max have high testosterone. If I said that specifically, I probably was on a rambling session, and you guys probably understood what I was talking about and wasn't directly related to this. So just because you have high testosterone does not mean you're going to have a high VO2 max. Okay, but what is likely is that if you have a good VO2 max, you're probably a fairly healthy individual, at least in the sense of your cardiovascular abilities, which would lead me to probably guess or assume that you probably have pretty normal testosterone or healthy testosterone levels as well, because you're physically active, you're eating right, et cetera, et cetera. So VO2 max, what is VO2 max? Okay, let's read this directly here. VO2 max essentially is how it's an indicator. VO2 max is widely used as an indicator of health. In 2016, the American Heart Association published a scientific statement recommending that cardiorespiratory fitness, CRF, quantifiable as VO2 max, be regularly assessed and utilized as a clinical vital sign. So me and Josh were talking about this beforehand. A lot of times, VO2 max isn't going to predict if you are going to be the fastest marathon runner in the world, or if you're going to win your next triathlon or anything like that. But it's a good indicator of if you're a healthy individual. That's what we're talking about. When we talk about increasing testosterone levels, when we talk about VO2 max, again, that is how your body processes oxygen. Okay, how does it use oxygen when you're under duress, when you're performing sports? So what you might see happen when they test this is, if you've ever seen like a training montage, I think it happens in Rocky 3 when he fights Drago. Okay, Drago has this mask on his face. It looks like a Bane mask, and he's sprinting on an incline treadmill for a short time, and it's a maximum repeated efforts. Okay, and they're measuring there how well essentially his legs utilize oxygen. So what's going on, for example, in this test, VO2 max is expressed either as an absolute rate, for example, liters of oxygen per minute, or as a relative rate, millimeters of oxygen per kilogram of body mass per minute. The latter expression is often used to compare the performance of endurance sports athletes. However, VO2 max generally does not vary linearly with body mass, either among individuals, within species, or among species, so comparisons of the performance capacities of individuals or species, the difference in body size, must be done with appropriate statistical procedures. So anyways, again, you're measuring with the VO2 max is how many liters of oxygen per minute that your body is able to sustain. Accurately measuring your VO2 max involves a physical effort sufficient in duration and intensity to fully tax the aerobic energy system. So you're doing sprints on an assault bike, for example. In general clinical and athletic testing, this usually involves a graded exercise, either on a treadmill or a cycle ergometer, in which the exercise intensity is progressively increased while measuring ventilation and oxygen and carbon dioxide concentration of the inhaled and exhaled air. I will give you the notes to where I'm reading this from because I did not memorize this. VO2 max is reached when oxygen consumption remains at a steady state despite an increased workload. Again, VO2 max is reached when oxygen consumption remains at a steady state despite an increase in workload. All right.
A lot of the Garmin watches now, if you wear a appropriate heart rate monitor, will
perfect.
We'll figure your VO2 max for you. Focus. No. So currently, I am sitting at a 47 VO2 max, which is great for my age, but it's a little off from where I like to be during race season. But I've been walking a lot on the hills of the Hammer race, so it's dropped a bit last 2 weeks. But that's another option. The formulas they use are pretty accurate now instead of going through the whole process of putting the mask on.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that, though, if you want to be cool and be like Drago.
Yeah, if you want to be like Drago.
Mm-hmm. So is this a good number to know, Josh, in your opinion? Is it realistic for somebody at CFP to be like, hey, I want to go do my VO2 max? Or is this more something a performance athlete would want to know, or is this just kind of another number to emphasize, hey, your health and fitness is getting better?
It's just another tracking tool.
More accountability.
I haven't really experimented much with CrossFit workouts. The formulas aren't built for that type of thing. So
keep that in mind. That's really important.
I don't even know how they would test that. I know they can test lactate threshold in CrossFit workouts, but they need to take a little bit of blood every couple minutes, right, which is awkward
and hard to do unless you have like a professional facility. Yeah. So another thing to take in consideration here too is VO2 max relative to what we're doing. Or is it relative to what you're doing? Because if you're going to go on an ergometer bike, but you want to know it for running a marathon, that doesn't quite make as much sense maybe. All right, if you're a marathon-specific training person. Oftentimes so an example I read from the CrossFit Journal was that there was this college wrestler who sought out this coach, and he wanted to see how his endurance, his was going to be affected if he cut an entire weight class for wrestling, so like 11 pounds. So they did this before the season. We talked about that as well as practicing how you're going to compete, right? So that's what he's doing. And so he's going to go in and do this VO2 max test. And the question is, though, is that really the same constraints that he's going to face when he's wrestling? And the answer is no, it isn't, because wrestling isn't just endurance. There's a lot of physicality going on, right? You're literally tossing another human being around a mat, hopefully, or you're getting tossed around. And so how are you going to react in that situation? So you got to ask, like Josh was just talking about, maybe measuring lactate threshold would have made more sense. I'm sure that's a question we'll get next week. What's lactate threshold? Please ask that. That will be a next week question. So, again, is it a good indicator for health? Yes, it is, because what we're looking at here is, are your cardiorespiratory abilities improving? Meaning you are avoiding any kind of like heart disease and whatnot, or cardiorespiratory diseases that could become from being inactive.
Yeah, and guess what else can tell you if your VO2 max is improving and if your health markers are improving?
What, Josh? Tell us.
Your benchmark scores in CrossFit workouts.
Weird.
Yeah.
So benchmark workouts, if you're like, what's a benchmark workout? Their workouts have literally have been done tens of thousands of times.
Another reason why you need to write down your scores, especially benchmark workouts.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy, Fran, Helen, all those. Write them down and do them. We do them probably. Certain ones we do twice a year probably. So.
Yep, they're really important. They let us know if you're improving in your fitness, or something as simple as like the mile run test. All right, yesterday, 10:10, CrossFit made this announcement. Overall competitor seating at the games will be determined by athlete scores in the 2019 Worldwide Open. Okay, you can read this entire one. Essentially, is asking. I don't think I even have the whole question up. Oh, there's the rest of the paragraph. This mass elimination method sounds cool, but at the same time, why mess with the good thing, the format of the games? What do you guys think about this? I think it's great. Okay, they just. You're still going to find the fittest person on earth, regardless of what you do. I mean, Matt Fraser's still going to destroy everybody.
I was listening to a podcast, and I don't know which one it was, where they're like, well, what if Matt Fraser, who has the resources because he's got all the sponsorships, just travels to all the events and wins them all?
He still would be seated lower because he
can win the Open, too. He can win that, too.
There's more money for Matt Fraser if he has those resources. That's exactly right.
And if they don't account for that, he would have less competitors then. Because he would knock everyone. Well, I guess they'd still perform the Open. But, I know how they used to do this in Frisbee Dog. I know it's not really comparable.
But people don't understand how comparable it is either.
Yeah, so the way they would do it was if you won an event, you got a chance to go to Worlds. You were automatically in. But say you have an event with you come in fourth, and the three people ahead of you had already won an event or already qualified, you would also then qualify.
Oh, it'd be interesting if they do that. I haven't heard clarification on that yet, because if Fraser's going to all these
Fraser
events,
could literally go to them all and take all the spots.
Or win a lot of them.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. That'd make a lot of sense if they did it like that.
Yeah.
So regardless, we're still going to find the fittest man and woman on earth, and regardless, it's still going to be fun to watch. We're still all going to tune in.
Yeah. The reason they're doing it is because of money.
Yeah, and
they can't afford to do it anymore with the goals of Glassman. The goals of Glassman are not to find the fittest athlete on the earth.
Right, and they totally could do this, right? Like you mentioned a couple podcasts ago, or one of our first podcasts, they could be two separate entities, and that would make sense.
Except one of them wouldn't make money.
Exactly. And hint, that's the CrossFit Games, unfortunately, wouldn't be making money.
Unless Nike came in and said, here's $100 million.
Yeah. They need a bigger sponsor. Reebok's on the way out anyways, it sounds like, so... Or they're at least going to restructure it to where it's more favorable.
They settled.
They settled?
Yep.
Fantastic. That's a win for CrossFit. But, it's only going to be good. We're going to get more affiliate support out of this. CrossFit is going to continue to change even more people's lives worldwide, which is the bigger picture here. The games are still going to be a blast. And like we said, we're still going to find the fittest people on the planet. It's going to be more inclusive. It's going to be more inclusive. You're going to see people from every country literally there where there's an affiliate. That's like
getting crushed by Fraser.
Yeah, getting crushed by Fraser. That's like the World Championships. Sure, all these cool countries send people, people who haven't swam in a pool before go do swimming, and it's fun. And then and Michael Phelps still wins. So it's still going to be a blast. I think it's still going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, more inclusivity is a good thing. And CrossFit being able to reach out and help more people and make more people healthy, that's a great thing too. I think it's win-win-wins.
Win-win-win.
Next question. PEDS in CrossFit has got a lot of attention since Ricky Garrard placed third in 2017 and then lost his title after failing a drug test. What are some performance-enhancing drugs that these athletes are taking? Do they not think they'll get caught? What are your thoughts on Pez?
Pez?
Like the Pez dispenser?
The candy? I don't know.
I was really surprised that Garrard that's what he got fined for.
Yeah, I didn't know that you couldn't take Pez.
I didn't know either. I've been eating a lot of Pez my entire life. Most of my childhood. Maybe that's how I got into weightlifting so easy.
I don't know, Yoda. I have a Yoda one.
You're a Yoda Pez guy?
Yeah.
I just had a traditional one. I think I had a clown one. It creeped me out.
Yeah.
And that turned me into Smarties, which is kind of the same thing. It was like before Pez.
Yeah, so I think you can't take Pez. You can't do Smarties. Starburst is also not allowed.
Pixie Sticks. Too many people were snorting it in their nose.
Yeah.
And it wasn't meant to be snorted in your nose, so...
That's all the Pez I know about.
That's all the Pez I know about, too. Sorry, I hope that answers the question, whoever answered this or asked this. God, I sure hope nobody would catch me snorting Pixie Sticks. That'd be embarrassing.
God, we're really good at not answering this question, are we?
What about that Bang you're sipping on there?
I don't know. I think that's clean.
Okay.
PEDS and CrossFit. So performance-enhancing drugs. We were just messing around there with the PEDS. I don't think there's any way to know who's taking what. I think just as a general look at things, if you haven't watched the documentary Icarus and have your eyes open to
Icarus. Just go watch that.
Just go watch the documentary Icarus. It's on Netflix like all the time. Open your eyes to what's really going on in sports. Unfortunately, most of our Olympic heroes and whatnot probably have taken some kind of drug at some time. And the truth of the matter is there's more money. There's probably more money going into the science of new performance-enhancing drugs for a lot of countries and a lot of athletes, again, who have the resources, who've won, who have huge sponsors. There's a lot more money going into new drugs that aren't able to be traced yet, probably, than there are drugs that are currently out there. The science is just always going to be behind because you want to see a winner, right? You want to see the most jacked up dude or female going out there and just dominating. So I like to think I know there's clean individuals out there. There's a lot of clean individuals out there, but you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know CrossFit, I know for a fact they test off season as well. Yep. So it is hard. It is hard and not to get caught. I don't know how much they still do, but I know like Deb Kortner-Carlson she got picked to get tested at one point. It was like totally not game season and she was pregnant, so she didn't have to because it would have popped her.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Deborah Kortner-Carlson is, she's used to be a long-time games athlete from the Twin Cities. I think she was a big-time collegiate athlete before that too, like a sprinter. Yeah. So she's a Minnesota local games athlete. You should know your games history if you're into it. But yeah, what are your thoughts on PEDs? I don't know.
I
like watching.
I like Pez.
I like Pez as well.
I prefer Smarties.
Smarties are awesome too.
I think in the long run, we're still going to find the fittest people on the planet, and I think you can still do that being clean.
I think, as long as they're testing everyone.
As long as they're testing everybody, and unfortunately, how do we know that? I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Are you ever going to have this be on an actual podcast type app like Google Play or Spotify? Also, I guess there's iTunes for those unfortunate people who struggle with. That's kind of like a jerk question.
Is it? Yeah.
Well,
an Apple basher.
An Apple basher for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. We will have this on here right now.
We're working on it.
Right now, this is just an easy format, just going live on Facebook. It's an easy format to share the link to all of our different pages. We're playing around with ideas of possibly separate podcasts and actually videotaping them ahead of time and doing specific hour-long topics on certain things, on questions that we routinely have come up, like recovery, maybe do some field trips. That'd be a blast. Kind of like Mr. Rogers, but for fitness.
Yeah,
and there's two hosts, cardigans, and there's two hosts.
Cardigans and shoes.
And fitness.
We need a shoe cam for that, I think.
Ooh, maybe we get sponsored by New Balance or something.
Yeah, as long as it's not Noble.
As long as it's not. Next week's questions. Why are you guys hating on Nobles?
I don't know.
I don't know. I know it might have to do with the founder of the company. Who knows?
All right, let's move on.
What's a movie you never get sick of and you could always watch? This question answer said Pulp Fiction over here. That's a great answer. We had an answer from our very own Coach Jordan, who was on the Prog.cast last week. Coach Jordan says, Italian Job, gotta love Marky Mark. Fantastic answer, Jordan. I got to go with, I'll let Josh go first so I don't take his in case I take his.
You're not taking mine.
Say it.
So, Live, Die, Repeat.
I was going to say that. No, yes, I was. That's why I let you go first. I'll think of another one.
Yeah, I watch that probably once every 6 weeks.
Who's in it?
Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt.
Yeah, it's a solid.
So that's not the reason. The reason I like it is because the beginning, I guess you know what's going on, but I just like it because it's realistic in a way, but not. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's like this super god like fighter, but it's because she's just trained for who knows how many days of repetition and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a good film. Essentially, this person absorbs alien blood that allows them, when they die, to resurrect the day before again.
Reset the clock.
Yeah. It's an interesting sci-fi film. It's a very good watch.
It's originally, I think it's based on a book, and it was called All You Need Is Kill was the original name of it.
I read the book now.
They didn't go with that for
and
some
if you
reason.
hate Tom Cruise, if you're like, I just can't stand Tom Cruise movies, you'll love this because he dies hundreds, if not thousands of times.
So Jen does not like Tom Cruise for many, many reasons, most of which I agree. But I
think a lot of us would agree.
She loved this movie because he died so much. So then the other movie that I watch frequently is Snatch. I don't know why.
Always quoting it.
I don't know
always
why.
Quoting it.
I just love that movie.
Man, I got to think. I haven't watched. I'm a huge movie guy.
Sometimes I just YouTube it and just watch it.
So Jen has just disclosed the truth about Josh's favorite movie.
Yeah.
Being The Notebook.
I've never even seen it, so we know that's a lie.
So Tony said that the Jen.
It's the bro crush with Ryan Gosling that keeps things going.
Jen posted that Josh loves The Notebook. I have a confession here. I actually saw The Notebook in theaters when it came out.
Really?
Yep.
What's it about? A notebook in rain? That's what it looks like to me.
No, it's hard to describe. It's hard to describe. But I was in junior high at the time, and
Jesus, you're young.
I know. And it was a way to go out. That's the only way to get a date. To go to
yeah, Ghost. that was my movie like that.
Ghost. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, you know what movie I could always watch? What's the one with Keanu Reeves and Bodie? You gotta let me go, man.
Fast. It was.
No.
I know what you're talking about.
Gosh darn it.
They just redid it.
Yeah, I forget about that one.
So with the bus.
It's with Gary Busey, Keanu Reeves.
No, the original's great.
The original's great.
The remake is terrible.
Yeah, the remake is terrible. I'll think of that movie by the end of this. I can't believe I'm
He's a quarterback, right?
Johnny, yeah. Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah.
I can watch that film just about any day.
Great movie.
Point Break.
Point Break.
Yep.
Point Break. There you go. Thanks, Tony. Point Break. I could watch that any day. I would say Pulp Fiction, but somebody already said it.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction's great too.
It's a great film. Not necessarily appropriate for younger folks. Minnesota Open is this weekend at CFP. Can you tell us a little bit about? Talk a little bit about it for those of us who aren't that familiar with weightlifting meets. So essentially, a weightlifting meet is as follows: you get 3 attempts at the snatch, 3 attempts at the clean and jerk, to get the heaviest combined total you can. So let's say my heaviest snatch is 200 pounds, my heaviest clean and jerk is 300 pounds, my total or my score for the meet would be 500 pounds, except for it's in kilograms. And then you're ranked among your opponents. So essentially people put in hours and hours and hours of training for probably less than a minute of actual competing. It's pretty intense. It's pretty fun. If you like the Olympic lifts, this is one way you can further, and you like competing, you've done maybe some CrossFit competitions or whatnot. We actually hold 2 or 3 in-house weightlifting competitions throughout the year at CFP, which oftentimes are free for you actually even to jump in on. So there is that. It's going to be, as far as what you can expect from this meet, like people are trying to qualify for a meet called the American Open, which is the second most important weightlifting meet in the United States behind the national championships. And the American Open is in December in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we'll have some pretty high caliber athletes who are here trying to hit those totals. As well as, I think one of the coolest things about this meet is you have, first time lifters all the way up to, we've literally had world team members and Olympians come to this meet before. I don't think we have any signed up this year, but I know last year we had an Olympian, and a couple years before that we actually had a world team member who showed up and competed. So it's really, really cool that everybody gets to compete against each other at this meet, being it's an open meet that you don't have to qualify for. Again, free to come spectate for everybody. What new CFP gear can we look forward to throwing our money at in the near future? We've looked at electric cars. Those were kind of expensive. We've looked at hoverboards. The technology just isn't there yet where we feel comfortable selling them to our members. Man, Josh, what do you got for this? We got probably a winter hoodie coming up.
Yeah, winter hoodie's coming. Julie's doing most of this now, so if you have ideas, just throw them at Julie.
Yeah, Julie's kind of almost been doing this like quarterly retail deal now. So you can probably expect a winter pre-order coming out. I think we just had the fall one, right? That just got done.
Yep, fall, yep. And pre-order is the way to go now, guys. We're not going to be buying a lot of extras anymore because we just can't afford to hold the stock.
Well, yeah, we could, but we could do cooler things like buy new gear for you guys for the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
Or improve the facility, or like do night while the woodwork.
So when you see a pre-order, don't assume there'll be extras because there will not be.
Right. So that's a really good point. This is a new format.
Yep.
Pre-orders is how we're going to be doing this, because then we guarantee that we get exactly what we want. We don't hold on to extra backstock for years and years. Like you always see the flash sales and the same stuff is out there because we ordered way too much of those things.
Yeah.
Except for the beanie hats. Those are going to be timeless.
Those are great.
Next question. I'm looking to get a setup in my garage to do some lifting. What's a good and affordable barbell to start with? What about weights? I think anything on Rogue is probably a good affordable barbell to start with.
Yeah, I would check the Played Against Sports or something first, I guess.
Oh yeah, I picked up a nice rusty barbell there one time and redid
and
the
we
whole
do
thing.
have some rusty barbells that you cannot Olympic lift with, which you could back squat, bench press,
deadlift. Probably stuff you would want to do in
deadlift.
your garage. You probably don't want to be dropping weights from overhead in your garage intentionally, anyways. Depending on what kind of concrete floor you have, and if you're a single or bachelor, it probably doesn't matter. Destroy your garage floor. But if you have a family or wife, or maybe you live with your parents still, you probably don't want to blow up their garage floor.
No.
What's this one?
Synergy barbells. They're manufactured in Owatonna.
Huh.
So they're local.
That's kind of cool.
Fantastic quality. We have the 15 kilogram women's bar.
You like it?
Love it. It is fantastic, and they're super affordably priced.
Do you want to post that link and then?
Yeah, Coach Tony's going to post a link in the side there to a Synergy barbell company that's local in Owatonna, Minnesota. That's kind of cool. He says he has a couple of their barbells, and he says they seem to hold up pretty well. Again, can't go wrong with Rogue. I think you can get one of the Bella bars, or what's the normal one we have? We just have the Rogue 2.0 bar, and those are like less than $300.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's pretty good as far as it goes. As Josh says, what you want to be careful of if you're going to go out looking for your barbell at Play Against Sports, what kind of bar you actually buy. If you look at the end of the barbell and there's just a giant screw going into it, you don't want to use that bar for anything but squatting and deadlifting. Okay? That is not made for Olympic weightlifting or to be dropped or bounced repeatedly like that.
No barbell's made to be dropped.
Yeah, honestly, no barbell's made to be dropped. And people are like, what do you mean? We do it all the time in the WODs. We know. This is why barbells break and eventually fall apart. So, barbells are not meant to be dropped on just bare concrete either. So you want to make sure you have a thick pad to drop it on that will help the longevity of your barbell for a very long time. If you're just dropping it on thin rubber, you're going to have some issues. Eventually, your barbells will start to need to be fixed or replaced. Plates, Rogue. Just get some of the cheap bumper plates.
Titan Fitness.
Titan Fitness is cheap. Just get the chrome rubber plates. They last forever. The smooth, shiny ones are cool, but not for like the 10 and the 15s. Those things will break like that. Okay, especially if you're going to drop your weights, like we said, you probably shouldn't or don't want to do in your garage. You're free to do that.
Yeah.
But get the chrome rubber plates if you want to drop.
We've had the best. We have some chrome rubber plates that are like the original.
They're from day one at
2009.
Yeah, and you can't tell. They look like the other chrome rubber plates because the design. Tuscumbia. What's it called? Yeah, well, anyways, there's this.
It's in Where's it in?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Tuscumbia or Tuscumbia.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Tuscaloosa.
I'm thinking of Tuscumbia, the winter bike race.
Yeah, sure. Not the same thing.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama is actually like the home of where like all chrome rubber bumper plates are produced. So check that out. Maybe we'll get a link for that as well here afterwards if you're looking for some cheap ones. But again, you could just come and use the gym more often too.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're going to get a weight set at home and then spend a lot of time there, and 99.9% of people just don't do it. So I have very minimal stuff at my house.
Not trying to be negative about it, but I would probably invest in a kettlebell before I invest in anything, because that one you might actually use because you can just grab it and start swinging it.
Yeah.
Grab a couple different size kettlebells. That would be my go-to at home, because I've done the barbell thing as well, and all it did was destroy my garage floor.
Yeah, I have two set of rings at home.
That's a good investment.
And then kettlebells. We do have a barbell, but it's only good for deadlifting.
Yep.
So.
Yep. What can we expect at the CFP Halloween party? Well, there's a little bit of a hint in our broadcast photo. If you got it, great. If you didn't, sorry. It's going to be a lot of good fun.
It's too much information, Nick.
We're done. Sorry, we're moving on. No, I'm just kidding. Whoops. Okay, so there's a few different things that you're going to expect from this. So expect an awesome Club 83 event. If you've been to the past ones, if you liked it, it's going to be more of the same, but it's going to be Halloween themed. Okay? Couple surprises. We don't like to give everything out. Maybe we're going to throw some horror movies up. Watch some horror movies. Play some dance music to them. We'll probably start the evening a little low-key, and we won't actually start the loud dance music until a little later. So we're thinking of starting the night with a Halloween-themed type movie that we would play over the projector, enjoy a few mixed drinks, go from there, have a great evening. Costumes, you should expect costumes. That's kind of on you guys, though, so make sure you show up in your costumes. It's going to be a good time. Dancing, horror movies, costumes, drinks, non-alcoholic drinks like mojitos. It'll be fantastic. It is BYOB. There's going to be, I'm planning on a seasonal kind of themed drink. It will be there in limited supply and quantity.
Ooh, exciting.
I know, right? I don't want to give that away yet. But I've talked to some of you about it, so you might already know. I'm not going to say what it is. So that's what I would be willing to expect. And honestly, if you are looking to like, hey, I want to meet some more people at the gym, this is a good place to do it. There'll be a lot of people here.
Yeah, even some people they come in the morning and some people come in the evening, so it's nice to have these events where you can all see each other.
That's right. And again, we say it's open to 7:30, knowing that most people probably won't get there till about 9, which is fine, and we plan for that. But if you show up early, chances are good we'll be playing some awesome vintage horror movies, or maybe some funny horror movies or funny Halloween-themed movies on the projector screen, so you can come early for that, leave late after the dance party. So it'll be a good time. Lights, balloons, confettis, you know what's going on. If you haven't been to a Club 83, you're like, that sounds really lame. There's no way they could put a good party on at CFP. One, probably change your negative attitude. Because we put on awesome parties at CFP, and we don't care if there's 20 people here or 200 people here. It's going to be a good night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, can't bring our party down. Are we going to see any of the Turkey Throwdown events in advance? You know you are. We have about 5 different events.
We sent them off to California for testing.
That's right. And Prog.cast could not complete all of them.
Nope. So sending them back, gonna redo a little bit, send them back out.
Yep. See what happens.
Yep.
But yes, you will see them in advance. We're going to start to leak them as build up to the big Turkey Throwdown. Remember, there is a $10 per person mandatory donation to Channel 1, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, wait for me to say that. I'm going to post the correct word so I don't get every people thinking on it. But
I think it's $10 per person to be in the event, and then a donation
for each team, for each member. Yeah. Remember, we switched. Just a heads up. In the past, we have done canned good donations to Channel 1. But as cool as it is to give them like a ton of like canned beans
or ramen
or ramen noodles, what really helps out Channel 1 the most is actually cash donations, because they can buy what they actually need. So that's why we have switched to that. If anybody is wondering, we can do a lot of good with such a big community and such a big event like the Turkey Throwdown. And so we're going to do some good stuff over the holidays for people who aren't as fortunate as we are. And that's the most important factor about the Turkey Throwdown and any group events that we ever do, is the power that we have as a group and as a community to affect the greater Rochester area, Olmsted County area. So we're going to do it. Good question. Lifters. So we're talking weightlifting shoes here. Are they a necessary gym bag accessory or no? I prefer lifting barefoot. Wonder who that is. Hoping I'm not losing something from doing that. So, are lifting shoes necessary? Essentially, Ryan. Is what. Don't do names on the Prog.cast.
Ryan.
Are lifters necessary or not? It depends. Okay, so bottom line, in a perfect world, everybody could do a perfect air squat, barefoot, squat down, and have the right ankle mobility in a perfect world, right? That's not most of us, especially if you haven't been training your whole life, or you just haven't been into squatting, or you just recently got into training. You probably don't have the mobility that we once all had as children. So if you have a hard time squatting without your heels coming off the ground, so you squat down and your heels come up and you're on your toes, and you've worked with coaches forever, might not be a bad idea to get a weightlifting shoe. And if you don't know what a weightlifting shoe is like, essentially it's a normal shoe, but it has a very stiff wedge in the back, like a triangle going down essentially, okay? And that essentially puts your ankle at an easier angle to squat. That's the main benefit with lifting shoes, why you might want to think about lifting shoes. Are they great for workouts? Not really. I mean, if they're a barbell-oriented workout, that can be really good. I don't think it's good to rely on that lifter, though, to continue to improve your mobility. I would really be practicing your squats and whatnot, because I oftentimes, and I don't think this is bad either, I think it's okay if this is the only way you can do it, but having to rely on your lifters for movements like pistols, or if you're going to do a squat, snatch, and a WOD, and you can't do it without your lifters, it's like, well, there's something missing there. There's some aspect of your fitness, which is your mobility, that you're missing on. So think about that first beforehand, before investing in, a $300 pair of lifting shoes. I mean, there's tons of great lifting shoes you can get for under $100. if you really do want to explore that avenue. I think they're really great. Anytime you're going to do heavy squatting, the more stability you can get, the better. So I kind of rambled there. What do you got, Josh?
I have a pair that was given to me by some dude, but I wear them. I don't wear them too often, but when I do, I'm like, wow, this is cheating.
Yeah.
And
now it's not cheating wearing lifting shoes, but it goes back to the original point. So you should be able to squat without them.
Yeah, I back squat with them every now and then. It's amazing, but you don't need them.
No, and everybody knows my big background is Olympic style weightlifting, but I have done my fair share of CrossFit. I've done the open at least 2 times, and I'll tell you what. Every time I've done I've done WODs. I've been doing WODs in my training. I don't think I've ever done them with weightlifting shoes on. And I tell you what, I still snatch about the same. The biggest place I notice it is when I'm actually doing heavy back squats.
Yeah.
Heavy back squats, heavy front squats, overhead squats is about the only time I think I would pull out lifters, and that's going to be during our strength portion. So otherwise, learn to squat. I really like the barefoot squatting idea. I'm not saying go try it today, because that's a good way to make your Achilles maybe not feel great if you don't have even close to the mobility, because that's pretty extreme to go from like a big heeled shoe that you already have right now to nothing. So maybe just start with something like a Converse, or just a flat heeled shoe with something like what we would say is zero drop. Reebok Nano is pretty close to zero drop, I think, or a Nike Metcon is pretty close to zero drop. And then you could start to progress your way down to barefoot squatting. Do not just say, hey, today I'm going to try barefoot squatting and go for it. You need to have the proper mobility first. Tony, we got any comments or questions you seen popping up?
He's handling it.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys talk about nutrition a lot, obviously. Have you thought about sharing a recipe each week and publishing it after the show? Hey, we started doing that this week because of this question. Thank you so much, friend. Here's a freebie for you. I'll share it a lot. It's insanely easy and really good. I like to throw some sweet potato wedges in the pan with them too. So follow that link, paleogrubs.com, baked pork chop recipe. That sounds intriguing. Here's something that maybe also might intrigue you. I got a healthy recipe of the week from our very own Jen Grinnell. This week, and this is in the show notes, it is pressure cooker chipotle chicken and rice bowls recipe. That doesn't sound amazing. So that is posted in the show notes as well. Please take a look at that this week. I'm going to try to continue that every week on our Prog.cast. So now you have a weekly mobility you can do, and you also have a weekly recipe. All right, if you get that every week, holy cow, pretty soon you'll have a week worth of mobility and recipes to do. What? That's value for free. So there you go. Again, it is in the show notes. Check it out. Thank you, Jen. And that was the end of our questions. We're done. All right. I think I rambled enough this week. Josh, you got anything to close with?
No.
Tony, you got anything?
Nope, I'm solid.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. This was episode 10 of the Prog.cast. We made it 10 episodes.
We were going to talk about that. Weren't we at the beginning? I don't know.
We probably were. We should emphasize that more, but it is episode 10 this week. You helped us get to double digits.
10 weeks.
10 weeks of doing something. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like weird. It's like consistency.
2 more weeks and we get a test out week, right?
2 more weeks and we get a test out week. Wait for that one, guys.
Yeah, test out.
That's right. So, thank you so much for following us the last 10 weeks. Comment, question below. Check the show notes after we're done posting this as well. I'll probably update it a little bit. Have a great rest of your day. See you.
Thanks, guys.